Open your mind to your God. You can put your phone or do not disturb.
Now in April 2025, what was supposed to be a regular...
Let me put y'all on game on this one right here. Do you guys know about this stuff? This trial that's going on right now. Y'all know about this trial? It's 23 minutes. Do we want to know about it? Let me know. Or we can do Monkey. We can do Omegle. We can do nigga, what? Or we can do music vid. Yeah, play it back.
meet in Frisco, Texas, turned into a tragedy that would make headlines across the country. A dispute between two teenagers ended with a 17-year-old dead. Austin Metcalf was fatally stabbed, and another teenager, Karmelo Anthony, was arrested and charged with murder. At the time, Karmelo was also 17 years old. He was a high school student, an athlete, and according to his family, someone with...
Can you still hear me? I just touched my mic, bro. And I know that shit be bugging.
...prior criminal record. But after that day, his life completely changed.
Okay.
Now Karmelo Anthony's facing trial as an adult, and if he's convicted, he could spend the rest of his life in prison. But this case has become bigger than just a courtroom story. Some people believe Karmelo acted in self-defense. Other people believe what happened to Austin Metcalf was murder, and that it should have never escalated that far. And because of the race of both teenagers involved, this case quickly turned into one of the most...
Of course, because of the race, bro. I'm already knowing, bro.
...emotionally charged stories in the country. So in this video, we're going to break down what allegedly happened between him and Austin Metcalf. The core facts in this video are based on official reporting, court records, and the arrest report. So, let's get started. The story starts in Frisco, Texas on April 2nd, 2025. At around 10:01 a.m. in the morning, Frisco police received a dispatch call about a stabbing at David Kirkendall Stadium, a school stadium located on Frisco Independent School District property, short for FIS.
Why is that? Why?
According to the arrest report.
Hold on. Let me go. This is high school, right? This is a high school, I'm guessing. It's a high school? Did I miss that? It's a high school? Why does he have a knife there?
Independent School District property at David Kirkendall Stadium, a school state. Frisco police received Texas on April 2nd. So, let's get started. The story starts in Frisco, Texas on April 2nd, 2025. At around 10:01 a.m. in the morning, Frisco police received a dispatch call about a stabbing at David Kirkendall Stadium, a school...
10 o'clock in the morning. Niggas already on bullshit 10 o'clock in the morning, bro. That's just high school shit, bro. Your hormones, all those... Everything just so hype, bro. Like...
Stadium located on Frisco Independent School District property, short for FISD. According to the arrest report, the call note said an athlete had been stabbed. The suspect was described as a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. One of the first officers to respond was Eduardo Cortez, a Staley school resource officer, basically an officer assigned to the school. After hearing the call over the radio, he immediately left his office and ran across the Staley Middle School parking lot toward the southwest entrance of the stadium. When he got inside, two high school age students told him the victim was on the north end of the stadium, near the bleachers, under the Memorial High School tent. So Officer Cortez made his way toward the visitor side of the stadium. As he got closer, he saw multiple people under the Memorial High School tent. And once he reached the north side bleachers, an adult male on the track pointed out the person police were looking for. The person was later identified as Karmelo Anthony.
Damn, so somebody pointed out this nigga, gang. Snitch.
According to the officer...
What would you even do, though, gang? The nigga just stabbed somebody, gang, in the morning. 10 o'clock. Niggas just brush their teeth, bro. Niggas probably did not expect to see a nigga get stabbed at 10 o'clock. You telling or what? What are you doing, bro? Look at this nigga. He's definitely guilty. Look at him, bro. Yeah. He's fucking guilty. He's one of those niggas. He was in the back doing this shit. In the classroom. Yeah. This nigga's... He used to wear... He one of them niggas back in the day would have worn... He would have worn them gold foam posits. Yeah. He guilty, gang. Look at this
Karmelo was wearing a gray hooded sweater and dark-colored Nike pants. At this point, the officer had not witnessed what happened himself. He was responding to what had just been reported.
No way,
An athlete
bro.
had been stabbed, and the suspected person was still at the stadium. At this point in the report, officers still had to figure out exactly where the weapon was, but later witness accounts would describe the weapon as a black knife. The following happened afterwards. According to the arrest report, Karmelo was on the track near the north end of the stadium. There was a chain link fence separating him from Officer Cortez, so the officer gave him instructions to keep his hands up in the air. And during that moment, before the officer even questioned him about what happened, Karmelo allegedly said out loud, "I was protecting myself." Officer Cortez then asked him if he had any weapons, and Karmelo,
I was protecting myself. That's the first thing he said. All right, brother. Let me listen to your story, brother. I'm okay, Sly. Okay.
said no. The officer patted him down while they walked along the fence, but he did not find any weapons on him. As the officer continued walking Karmelo off the track, Karmelo allegedly said, "He put his hands on me." At that point, Officer Cortez detained Karmelo in handcuffs and had him sit down on the ground. Another officer, Officer Ricci, had arrived on scene by then. Cortez conducted another pat-down, and after Karmelo gave consent to be searched, police still did not find any weapons on him. But while Karmelo was sitting on the ground, Officer Cortez advised over the radio that he had the alleged suspect. And according to the report, Karmelo responded by saying, "I'm not alleged, I did it." After that, Officer Cortez,
Jesus. I'm not alleged, I did it. This guy have confidence, so in the face of battle, I'm not alleged, I did it. Love this nigga, Ken. But let's not love him for doing bad things, though. Wow, bro. What the fuck, bro?
Officer Ricci walked Karmelo toward a patrol vehicle near the northeast gate of the stadium. And as they were walking him to the squad car, Karmelo was described as very emotional. During that walk, he allegedly said, "He put his hands on me. I told him not to." Officer Cortez made it clear in the report that he did not question Karmelo about the incident while escorting him to the patrol vehicle. Once Karmelo was placed in the back seat, the officer noticed fresh blood on Karmelo's left middle finger. He then acknowledged the
He should have just kept quiet, bro. Yeah, you understand? Just straight up admit it, bro. It probably sound real, though, with emotion. You just saying that stuff out loud, bro. But damn, though, fam. That's why they tell you keep a lawyer, bro. A lawyer would have told you don't say all of that, bro. Because, think about it. Because their prosecutor could come, their prosecutor could literally say whenever it's time, they're on trial, they could bring up him saying this stuff and be like, listen to this nigga, bro. He boasting about him killing a nigga. He got no remorse. He has no remorse. He said, "I'm not alleged, I did it. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He planned to do this." Like, bro, come on, bro. But I feel him, though. I don't know if I feel him
out loud so it would be captured on his body-worn camera. And while Karmelo was in the back seat, he allegedly asked the officer, "Is he going to be okay?" At that point, police confirmed his identity as Karmelo Anthony through the information he provided and through the school database. Once his identity was confirmed, officers were told to transport him to the Frisco Police Department jail. And again, Officer Cortez wrote that he did not question Karmelo about the incident at that point. The story then continues at the Frisco jail. According to the report, when Karmelo arrived at the jail, he was escorted into the intake area, where jail staff changed him out of the clothes he had been wearing and into jail attire.
I don't understand, though. Nobody questioned the nigga, bro. I mean, I understand he killed the nigga, but he's telling y'all that he didn't mean to do this. So why nobody talking to him to ask him about what happened? Why did they keep repeating that he did not question him? Why did nobody ask him about... You understand? Like, am I crazy for saying this? Am I crazy for saying this? Please tell me.
Cortez wrote that he stayed with jail staff during that process. The clothes Karmelo had been wearing
they just treating him like a straight, just We know why. I know we know why, but like, damn though, they're not even asking you. The guy tell you though, like, I told him to put his hand. I told him to not put his hand on me. He still put his hand on me, and then he telling you though that he did it. He telling you he did it, but he telling you though that like he put his hands on me. Now, I've not finished watching the whole thing, so I don't want to go and be talking too much, you understand? Cause the nigga still had a knife on school property. I feel like that's gonna always that's gonna harm you at the end of the day, gang. That's gonna fuck you up. Cause there is no reason for you to have that on property. And you can't say you found that there, gang. So that I feel like that's gonna fuck him up off rip. But like, bro, why they not asking him? They just putting the nigga in straight jail, all this shit. I don't want to yap too much on some ghost shit. But damn though.
Into an evidence bag, and Officer Cortez maintained possession of those clothes after Karmelo was placed
This
in
nigga look like he about to cry for the nigga, bruh.
jail cell. After that, Officer Cortez and another officer, Hancock, returned to the patrol vehicle, which was in the Frisco Police Department's secure jail entrance. Officer Cortez then placed Karmelo's clothes in the trunk area of the patrol vehicle. The clothes remained there until
2026. Look at this rubbish. This guy is going through life sentence. Look at that Malu. Look at that bastard boy in the corner. He's recording. Life sentence. He's going through a life sentence. This boy is getting an Instagram picture. This guy will probably never see this guy again in his life. Instead of him to be soaking in the moments, maybe he should have worn a suit too. This bitch ass nigga got on his watch. He couldn't even get a haircut. Look at him. He couldn't even get a haircut. He got his phone out, recording. What's life, bro? What's life?
the Frisco Police Department crime scene technician, K. Dillard, took possession of them. So by that point, Karmelo...
You probably brought the knife to school, bro. What you mean? Where did he even get that knife? You probably brought the knife to school. It's not the first time we done know niggas to bring weapons to school. Let's be real. We know our people. Let's be real. It's not the first time we know. We make mistakes. My only question is just why they just... I understand at the end of the day, that's some criminal shit though. But like, damn. Why they not asking him no questions though? That's my only thing. Why they not asking no questions? We 4 minutes in and he already in jail clothes. They stripping him naked. I told y'all he protected himself, bro.
His clothing had been...
If it was a white nigga, they would have hugged him though.
That as evidence, and the case was moving from the immediate arrest into the evidence gathering stage. But Officer Cortez's narrative wasn't the only account included in...
I ain't gonna be one of them black niggas y'all can kill when I get up top. I just want to let y'all know now. Something to let you know now. I'm not one of those black niggas y'all can kill when I get up top. And I ain't gonna use hard drugs. I ain't gonna use hard drugs. I promise you that. I ain't gonna use hard drugs. I might keep smoking weed. I might smoke weed. Yeah, I might smoke weed. I might have little moments where I'm gonna stop smoking the weed. Yeah, you know, my little breaks like I always do. But I ain't gonna be on no hard drugs. I promise you that. No. I might do some mushrooms and shit like that though. I don't know if that hard drugs, you feel me? But I'm telling y'all now. I ain't gonna be one of those. No. I might have some controversies though, for sure. A lot of them. Oh my God. I don't know. I might have a lot of them though. I'm gonna be in the blogs. Gonna say some shit about my relationships or some shit like that. I don't know. Yeah. But they ain't gonna be able to stop me or stop my mouth, bro. What I can say, chat. They're not gonna be able to do that, man. I'm gonna wear what I wanna wear. I'm gonna say what I wanna say. And I'm telling you now, I'm really serious.
Arrest report. There was also a supplemental report from Officer Allison Ricci, and she was mentioned earlier in this story that I'm telling you right now. She was one of the people who responded to this entire situation initially, right? So according to Officer Ricci, she was dispatched to the stadium at around the same time after police received the report that an athlete had been stabbed. The suspect was once again described as a black male wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt and blue sweatpants. And all these different accounts are important, especially in the arrest report, which tells us what initially happened in the story, right? So that's why I'm kind of sharing different accounts from that particular day. And Officer Ricci wrote that she responded with lights and sirens and arrived at the scene at approximately 10:05 a.m. When she got there, she approached the track and field area and saw Officer Cortez kneeling next to Karmelo Anthony, who at that point was already in handcuffs and seated on the sidewalk near the entrance to the track. According to Officer Ricci, Officer Cortez told her that Anthony was the alleged suspect in this situation right here. Now, from the perspective of Officer Ricci, this is what she said, right? She said while they were walking Anthony to the car, Karmelo at that point made another spontaneous statement. He allegedly asked if what happened could be considered self-defense. And then the officer says she told him she did not know what happened. And then at that point, she also noted that the camera inside the patrol car had been activated before Karmelo was placed inside. And she took a photograph of Karmelo's hands with her department-issued camera and later uploaded that photo to the crime scene folder. Now, there was also another officer who responded to this entire situation, right? His name was Sergeant Will Otis. And according to his supplemental report, Karmelo was once again described as a black male wearing a gray hoodie and blue sweatpants. However, he also added in that he was possibly in Centennial High School clothing. And it turns out that he was actually a student at that particular high school. And this is kind of when we get into the specifics of what...
So it was a high school. Okay. You know, they got the high school.
Happened, right? So let's keep going. Now, Sergeant Otis wrote that the incident had taken place on the visitor side of the stadium, near the north side bleachers, where the victim was under the Memorial High School tent. And by the time he got there, both of the officers, Cortez and Ricci, they were already walking Karmelo away from the stadium. Now, according to this officer, he said that the suspect, Karmelo, right, he was crying hysterically. Now, let's talk about the environment, okay, because this is very important. Around that same time, the weather started to change, and heavy rain began coming down over the stadium.
Jesus.
Now, because Austin was still being treated, the staff moved the Memorial High School tent to cover him and the emergency personnel working on Austin, right? And then at this point, when the
Austin a tweaker, gang. Damn, bro. Austin gotta just calm down, bro. Why the fuck Austin had to tweet like that, bro?
officers then started using his city-issued phone to take crime scene photos, trying to preserve as much of the scene as possible because of the rain and the large number of people gathering around. Other officers began putting up crime scene tape and moving non-essential people out of the
that shit fucking up his head, chat. Bad.
area. Officers were also told that the knife used in the stabbing had been tossed and was believed to still be nearby. Eventually, one of the witnesses said they remembered seeing the knife on the bleachers, and according to the report, another officer, his name is Chow's, located the knife between rows 9 and 10 near seat 30, close to the aisle. The report says the knife was partially open.
Good night.
Blade appeared to be at least partially exposed when the officers found it. And because of the rain that was starting to come down at this point, they decided to not move the knife right away. Instead, they covered it with a large blue tarp to preserve it as evidence. From there, Sergeant Otis helped preserve the crime scene while other personnel continued treating Austin and eventually transported him from the stadium. Now, the most detailed account of what allegedly happened comes from Officer Taylor Wetzel's supplemental report.
Okay.
According to Officer Wetzel, he responded to the stadium after dispatch notes said an athlete had been stabbed in the chest. So at this point of the story, we know that Austin...
In the chest, nigga? Damn.
Stabbed in the chest. And they also said that Austin Metcalf at that point was unconscious and not breathing. And now they finally confirmed that Karmelo, who was the suspect at this point, right, he believed to be a Centennial High School student. So now it was confirmed that he was a high school student of this particular high school. And then now we get into witnesses. When one of the officers, Wetzel, arrived at 10:06 a.m., he went towards the visitors' bleachers, where dispatch said the victim, Austin, was located, being happened under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. Now, according to witness accounts, Austin Metcalf was sitting under the Memorial High School tent with his team. Karmelo Anthony, who was from Centennial High School, was also sitting under that same tent. And then Austin allegedly told Karmelo that he needed to move out from under their team's tent. That's when, according to the witness, Karmelo grabbed his bag, opened it, reached inside, and told Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." The witness said nobody really thought Karmelo had any weapons in his bag, and this is when things escalate. Austin then allegedly touched Karmelo, and according to the witness, Karmelo told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo.
I'm missing.
The witness said nobody really thought Karmelo had any weapons in his bag, and this is when things escalate. Austin then allegedly touched Karmelo, and according to the witness, Karmelo told Austin to punch him and see what happens.
Yeah, I took it from your bag. Thank you. Good night.
Time later, Austin grabbed Karmelo to tell him to move. And that is when, according to this particular witness, Karmelo pulled out what the witness remembered as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest.
Jesus. I look away for 5 seconds.
Karmelo to tell him to move. And that is when, according to this particular witness, Karmelo pulled out what the witness remembered as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest. After the stabbing, the witness said Karmelo ran away. Austin then began grabbing his chest and telling everyone to get help. The police at this point made contact with Hunter Metcalf, who was Austin's brother, and another witness who had been nearby. And they were, of course, very, sad about what had happened. They were breathing heavily and crying because of what had happened to Austin. And then there was a witness there with
this nigga gang. Look at what the fuck he's saying.
And crying.
Man.
Because of what had happened to Austin. And then there was a witness there with his brother, with Austin's brother, right, who was speaking to the police, and they were giving them way more information than anyone else at the scene. And they said that they were sitting in the bleachers under the Memorial High School tent when another male, someone he did not know, walked over and sat under the tent. And then according to this witness, Austin Metcalf then told the male that because he did not go to Memorial, this high school, he had to leave the tent. And the witness said that Austin and the male, who of course was Karmelo, they were kind of going back and forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed the male to get out the tent.
Wait, what, nigga? Hold on, what? I'm a little fried, bro. Hold on, let me go back, bro.
According to this witness, Austin Metcalf then told the male that because he did not go to Memorial, this high school, he had to leave the tent. And the witness said that Austin and the male, who of course was Karmelo, they were kind of going back.
Oh, this is like that track meet shit, bro. Yeah, you gotta leave this tent. Yeah, you gotta leave this tent. Nah. This nigga gotta go to jail, gang. Yeah, he gotta go to jail, gang. Yeah, that black nigga gotta go to jail, bro. If that's what happened, he gotta go to jail, bro. I don't know if it's for life, but that's wrong as fuck. That's wrong as fuck, bro. If it's really just the whole tent stuff, bro, because you run track before, bro. You've been in, like, each other's tent and stuff. Sometimes some people start mouthing, leave this tent, blah, blah, blah. You don't. This is nowhere you understand? You don't go to this school. You fight or whatever. Maybe, bro, you don't even get to the point where you fight, bro. You probably just mouth, and the coach stop the stuff. Or it depends how much of an HBCU school you're going, like an Ashbrook. You feel me? You fight. You feel me? Or fucking Huss. You feel me? You might fight. You feel me? But at the end of the day, though, you're not gonna stab a nigga in his heart. You stab a nigga in his heart? You crazy? You just stab a nigga in his heart? Fuck.
Forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed the male to get out the tent. And then they also added in that this is when Karmelo was kind of like reaching around his bag. And then they reiterated that he got a knife, stabbed Austin, and then he left the scene. So at this point in the story, we've gotten a lot. Added in that this is when Karmelo was kind of like reaching around his bag. And then they reiterated that he took out a knife, stabbed Austin, and then he left the scene. So at this point in the story, we've gotten...
The nigga got punched, gang. He got punched in his face and put his hand in his bag and got a knife out of his bag and stabbed the nigga in his chest. What the fuck did he think was going to happen? Did he think he was going to stab the nigga and the nigga was going to be alive? Did he think he was going to stab the nigga and the nigga was going to, like, I don't know, somehow fucking forgazed it to fucking, I don't know, bruh. What the fuck was he expecting? What's wrong with these niggas, bro? Come on, bro. We gotta think first, bro.
A lot of perspective and a lot of witness accounts on exactly what happened. We know who was there and we know what exactly happened. And it's at this point that they talk a little more about the victim in this case, right? Austin Metcalf, who was being treated by Frisco Fire Department personnel and athletic trainers. Now, at this point, medical personnel were actively performing life-saving measures on Austin, and they were still working on the scene, talking to people, trying to figure out what happened. And Austin, at this point, was transported to the hospital. And then the ambulance arrived at the hospital at 10:46 a.m. that morning with Austin, and doctors immediately try to treat him in the emergency room. But just 7 minutes later, at 10:53 a.m.,
Crazy
Chow pronounced.
Crazy part is, bro, it's so scary, cause we all are gonna be in this position one day. This position one day. Where like a doctor or somebody's examining us to make sure that we're really dead. And it's somebody that's either younger than us or somebody older than us. And it's so sad, but we all have to go through it. And I don't like that. I truly don't like that. I can never get behind that. I don't know why, but I don't like that. I don't know why. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like
And deceased.
I don't like that we have to lose people. I don't like that we have to die. I don't like that. I just don't get it. I don't ever understand. I don't get it. I can never get it. I can never just wrap it around my skull to get it, why we have to.
It's like a do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes, using science and sound.
Like, what's the point of the whole?
After Austin was
But it's, I guess it all makes, fuck it.
dead, hospital staff stopped treatment, and then another officer, Newton, then took possession of the clothing Austin had been wearing and maintained custody of those items until crime scene investigators took over. Officers and investigators also documented the scene at the hospital with photos, and Austin's clothing was collected as evidence. Later that afternoon, Austin's family was allowed into the room to view him. At 3:15 p.m., the transport service for the medical examiner arrived and took possession of Austin's body. The arrest report also notes that later that morning, another witness came to the Frisco Police Department lobby and said he had seen the stabbing. He was given a voluntary witness statement form and later spoke with detectives. Now, the final pages of the arrest report show how officers began separating witnesses and preserving what they could after the stabbing. And it was also noted that multiple coaches came forward. 2 coaches said they heard Karmelo confess to stabbing Austin, while other coaches said they witnessed the actual incident. So there were a bunch of people who seen what happened here as well. That's very important. So that's all the very important information from that particular day, at least based on the arrest report. Now,
4K, nigga. 4K? I don't get what the part that niggas is hating. What's the part that people are saying free this nigga for? I don't know.
All that, the whole situation is just sad, right? I mean, you're talking about a high school track
I gotta
meet.
watch more.
Kids are supposed to be competing, coaches are supposed to be coaching, families are supposed to be watching from the stands. And by the end of that morning, one teenager was dead, another teenager was in handcuffs, and everybody was...
Ma? Oh my God, I gotta get back to my Ma, I'm coming. Ma? I am big. Stop calling me. Stop calling me in this house. Jesus. I'm trying to watch this guy act like a vagabundism, and you are messing with me. Come on, guys.
Had to live with what they saw. And I think that's what makes this case so heavy. Before it became a headline, before it became a racial debate, this was a real-life tragedy involving two teenagers, right?
Here,
and one of those teenagers
My
killed.
fault, chat. I'm sorry, bro. I apologize. Normally I'd be cutting this stuff out. Actually, that's cap. I never cut this shit out. This is my life. It's my channel. It's what we do. Reacting to stuff. This is what's going on, bro. What's up, bro? You wanna fight me, bro? What's up, bro? I'm sorry, bro.
Another one.
I'm not gonna get up again for the rest of the video. I promise. Sorry.
It's a fact. Austin Metcalf lost his life at 17 years old. His family lost a son, a brother, and someone they clearly loved. And Karmelo Anthony, who was also 17 at the time, went from being a high school student at a track meet to being accused of murder and facing the possibility of spending the rest of his life in prison. So the outcome of the situation, very permanent. And based on all the information up until this point, the entire thing seems to have...
If he really did just get punched in the face and reached his hand in the book bag and got that shit out of his book bag and just stabbed the nigga in the chest, he's a lame ass nigga, and I don't support that.
Escalated from a situation that should have never gotten anywhere close to that point. Now, obviously, the arrest report is not the same thing as a conviction. That's what the trial is for. Karmelo Anthony has pleaded not guilty, and his defense is expected to argue that he acted in self-defense. So what you have here is an argument over a team tent. You have a witness saying Karmelo reached into his bag. You have witnesses saying Austin either touched, grabbed, or pushed him during the confrontation. And then you have Austin being stabbed once in the chest and later pronounced dead. So now the legal question becomes, was this self-defense or was this murder? And that's where this case gets complicated, emotional, and divisive.
Listen to her.
We're here because Gaza still needs your support.
Headlines fade, and the need does not.
And children are still malnourished, homes are still destroyed, families are...
Now, after Karmelo Anthony was taken into custody, the story didn't stop at the stadium. That same day,
I need help. Get me into Stream University.
Police publicly identified him as the suspect. Again, he was 17 at the time, and the police said he had been charged with murder, a first-degree felony. And from that point, the public image of Karmelo Anthony became one of the biggest parts of this case. Because on one hand, you had the arrest report. You had witnesses describing a dispute under the Memorial High School tent. You had police saying Austin Metcalf was stabbed once in the chest. And you had Karmelo allegedly making statements like, I was protecting myself, and I'm not alleged, I did it. But on the other hand, Karmelo's family and supporters started presenting a different side of who he was before all this happened. They described him as a teenager with no prior criminal history, a high school student, an athlete, someone who had played football and ran track. According to reports and family representatives, he had a strong GPA, worked regular jobs, and was the oldest of 4 children. And I think this is also one of the reasons why this particular case became so complicated for people emotionally. Because when a story like this first comes out, people naturally want to put everybody into a box. One person is a victim, one person is the suspect, one family's grieving, another family's trying to defend their son in this case, right? And legally, those roles are very real. Austin Metcalf is the teenager who lost his life. Karmelo Anthony is the teenager accused of taking it. Well, let's talk about Karmelo Anthony's family, right? Because they started making a lot of public statements, and they were basically saying before this case, he was not some career criminal. He was a high school student with a future. And then that aspect of this case became a very big public debate.
Duh. Of course they're gonna try to say the nigga is like that. Of course, nigga. Whole time the nigga probably was like a white nigga that used to the girls at the park. We was all in high school before.
Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to.
Oh yeah?
He's been raised in a 2-parent home.
Oh yeah?
With structure.
Oh yeah?
Stability.
Oh yeah?
Love. And we put God first in everything that we do.
Oh yeah?
We believe in the Constitution.
Oh yeah?
We believe in the laws of this state.
Oh yeah?
But those laws must apply to all of us.
Oh yeah?
Not just some of us.
Oh yeah? Ego, we bring race whenever we get in trouble. We remember our race. We remember. We remember.
Now, on April 14, 2025, Karmelo's bond was reduced from $1 million to $250,000. He was allowed to leave jail under house arrest with an ankle monitor, as long as his family could post bond. That decision caused even more reaction. Some people looked at it as a normal legal decision for a 17-year-old with no prior criminal history. Other people looked at it and felt like the system was being too lenient for someone accused of stabbing another teenager to death. And then a few days later, on April 17, Karmelo's family held a press conference to address what they described as misinformation, threats, and hateful attacks.
Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about.
We were all waiting to hear the Anthony family talk for the first time on the record. It was supposed to start at 11. 10 minutes turned into 20, then 30. The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
Who was not invited, he knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family. But he did it.
But even that moment became controversial because Austin Metcalf's father showed up unexpectedly and he was escorted out before the press conference even began. So at that point, the case was no longer just being argued in court documents. It was being argued online. People were debating Karmelo's character.
That's just, come on, bro. Come on, my people, bro. Come on, bro. You trying to show these folks that he was raised in a 2-parent household, bro, and the father can't come to the stuff, bro. Come on, bro. Hold on. Whose father came to the stuff, bro? Hold on.
Moment became controversial.
Appropriate.
30. The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
Who was not invited.
Oh. I'm tweaking. That's on me. I apologize, bro. I'm too fried on here. I apologize, chat. I'm sorry. Look at white folks doing white folks things. That nigga pulled up to that vid with his glasses cut. So respected, cuz. That's on me though, gang.
He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family. But he did it.
But even that moment became controversial because Austin Metcalf's father showed up unexpectedly and he was escorted out before the press conference even began. So at that point, the case was no longer just being argued in court documents. It was being argued online. People were debating Karmelo's character. People were debating Austin's death. People were debating race. People were debating self-defense. And people were arguing whether the public support for Karmelo had gone too far. One of the biggest examples of that was the fundraiser.
As a father, though, can you blame the nigga, though? As a father, bro. Just as a father. Just as a father. Just as a father, can you blame him?
Set up for Karmelo's legal defense.
Don't
Within
put race
weeks,
into it.
It had raised hundreds of thousands of dollars. With reports saying it eventually passed way over $500,000. And that became another big point here. To Karmelo's supporters, the money represented support for a teenager they believed deserved a fair defense. And then to critics, it felt disturbing to see that much money raised for someone accused of killing a 17-year-old at a school event. So to a lot of people here, Karmelo was a teenager being overcharged after what they believed was self-defense. To other people, he was just a person accused of taking a young man's life and receiving way too much empathy. Now, on June 24, 2025, the case officially moved forward. And that's when Karmelo was indicted.
Damn. Way too much. Damn.
For first-degree murder and the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf. So legally, the indictment meant prosecutors believed they had enough evidence to move forward with a murder case. And from that point, the question became even bigger. Not just what happened under that tent, but whether Karmelo Anthony's claim of self-defense would hold up in court. Now, before we go deeper at this point in the video, in the legal case and everything that happened after this, I think it's important to actually talk about Austin Metcalf as well, right? Because sometimes when cases like this become national stories, the person who lost their life almost becomes a name attached to a headline and they kind of get forgotten, which is something that I don't really like. It doesn't really matter where you stand on this particular case. At the end of the day, don't forget that this was a person, a young man.
I went to school with a nigga that I can't answer. Not yet. I can't give y'all
He was
that.
very, very young who got killed here, right? He got killed here. That's not an argument of was it self-defense or murder. We'll get to that in the end. But at the same time, he was killed here. That is a fact. So Austin was 17 years old. He was a junior at Memorial High School in Frisco, Texas. He was an athlete, a football player, a track and field competitor. And according to reports, his father described him as an honor student, a natural leader, and a talented athlete. He played linebacker for Memorial High School, and by all accounts, he was someone who had a very bright future ahead of him. Austin also had a twin brother named Hunter. And keep in mind, his brother was actually there that day, right? He witnessed what happened, and reports describe how close these two brothers were. Later, after Austin's death, Hunter even accepted Austin's diploma on his behalf during the school's graduation ceremony. So when we talk about this case, at the center of the story is a 17-year-old
This nigga.
who never made it home from a school event. Let's just sit with that for a second, okay? This young man had a lot more life left to live. Now, while Austin's family was grieving, Karmelo Anthony's family was also trying to control the way people saw their son. Because once this case became national news, Karmelo wasn't just being looked at as a teenager who had been arrested. He became the face of a much bigger conversation. Some people looked at the arrest report and saw someone who took another teenager's life over something that should have never escalated this far. But then his family and supporters, they're really trying to vouch for him and say that this was not who he was before that day. Now, Karmelo Anthony's murder trial is officially ongoing right now. And at the center of this trial is one question. Was this self-defense or was this murder? He's of course pleaded not guilty, and his defense is expected to argue that he acted to protect himself. The prosecutors are going to have to convince the jury that this was not justified self-defense, and what happened under that tent legally qualifies as murder. So a jury is going to have to look at the evidence and decide whether Karmelo Anthony's actions were legally justified or whether he crossed a line that cost Austin Metcalf's life. Now,
he crossed the line, nigga. He crossed the line, nigga. If that's really what happened, he put his hand in that bag as soon as he got punched. Which is really, that's what it sounds like, gang. But if that's really what he did, bro, yes, he crossed the line, bro.
We've talked about all the information now, at least from the arrest report, which is the most important accounts. And my personal opinion, I personally have a very hard time seeing this as self-defense. Because here's the thing, even if Austin touched, grabbed, or pushed him during the confrontation, we're still talking about a situation where witnesses say Karmelo reached into his bag, warned him, and then allegedly stabbed him once in the chest.
You feel me?
Based on what I've seen here, that sounds like a situation that escalated way beyond what it ever needed to be. And from my perspective, I think this is just another story that shows how fast violence can take something from bad to irreversible. I don't know what was going through Karmelo's head in that moment. I don't know if this was something just emotional and just a split-second decision that went too far. But what I do know, and this is a fact, one young man is dead at the hands of another young man. So now the question becomes, how did Austin Metcalf's life get taken?
Oh, by the way, because of how hectic this video is, let me make sure somebody's hearing me. But because of how hectic this video is, right? Whoever is hearing this, whenever like people watch this video, whoever is hearing this, whoever is the first person to comment that Cash App underneath the thing, I'm gonna send you, let me see, I'm gonna come up, I send you $10. I send you $10. Yep. Just because of how I had you watched through this whole video, you talked to me, blah blah blah. You send me, drop that shit in the comment section. Drop that shit in the comment section. And this is definitely not fucking self-defense. Drop your Cash App in the comment section. And I'm gonna bless you.
Did Karmelo truly believe he had to use deadly force? Was this really only self-defense, or was this murder? That's what the trial is for. But my personal stance is that he did not have to kill that young man. That's my personal opinion. You might disagree, but that's what I think. Now, Karmelo Anthony is presumed innocent unless proven guilty in the court of law, and the jury is the one that has to decide what the evidence actually proves. But no matter what happens in court, one thing is true. Austin Metcalf is gone. A regular high school event turned into the last day of his life. And Karmelo Anthony, who was also a teenager at the time, is now facing the possibility of spending decades or potentially the rest of his life in prison. So whatever side you're on here, This case is a reminder how fast one moment can destroy multiple lives.
No way, bro. He got 35 years in prison? The nigga got 35 years in prison?
Big stepper on the big boy, no more, yeah. Big stepper on the big stepper on the